Okay, it's 5:30 if you guys want to go ahead and get started.
Okay. I call the extended meeting in order. All right, did we get the minutes? Everything's settled out on the minutes to approve them or not?
Anything? I took off that last page, so all this is just that last. So that's about the only other thing you sent me to.
Yeah, whatever I sent you, I didn't reprint them, but when you had two Schedule Cs on,
I removed that other Schedule C. So
so the one you have on is the only one that's in the fire
if
agreement.
you want to look at that, you can.
Now, the agency, the December 11th minutes are not part of these minutes, right?
Correct.
Okay. So we'll have to approve.
Right, these are October 17th minutes.
And the continuous meetings, yeah. December 11th, we'll have to approve those at our next meeting and.
Correct. It's part of this meeting.
Yeah.
This meeting is part of that last meeting. That's why there's no minutes.
Okay, good. Everybody good with it? You good with
I'm good with it since you moved that.
Are you good with it? Okay.
Somebody approved it.
Yeah, take a vote.
Yeah.
Are you good with it, Dave?
Yeah, I'm good with it. Yeah. I make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 17th meeting minutes.
Yeah. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Here you got.
How do you vote, AJ?
Aye. You got it. Okay.
I want a copy of them then when they're signed copy.
I could, all right, if I email it to you.
Yeah. As long as I can read them.
You good, Larry? You ready? Okay. The resolution to transfer funds need to balance the budget line and stand for you.
Okay, I went ahead, the only way I could show you guys what I was doing was to do it. So did you guys all get the before and the after? Before, there was a lot of red lines there where we were actually out of budget on a lot of line items. But then the second one I sent you, showed you everything in balance. Did you get that, David?
I got the first one, but the changed one, wouldn't open. It did not open.
This is the one before, it's got all the red lines on it. This is the one after, that they're all in the black now. And none of the budget totals changed. We were within budget and everything. And this is the resolution I'm asking you to approve to do that.
I had one question on the one.
Yeah,
On the one that was,
looking at the before one or the after.
well, on the before one, under fire and EMS, you had $20.40 under office supplies, which you mailed out what them bills were, and that was stamps.
Yeah.
And then on the one you corrected, that $20.40 is gone.
Well, it's not gone, it's just moved to operating expenses.
Any reason for that, or?
Yeah, because you guys, there wasn't a line item approved in the budget for postage. And I went ahead and paid it, and I probably shouldn't have paid it because it wasn't part of the fire agreement. But it was an operating expense, so I moved it in with the operating expenses.
Well,
Next year that won't happen. If we pay 50% of the budget and they have to buy postage, we'll buy half the postage and the town will buy half the postage.
we won't buy half the postage. We're just mailing them 2 checks. They'll do the buying.
Well, but it ends up in 2 checks, but the 2 checks will equal 50% of the $122,000 budget that you guys.
Right. Right.
Based on their budget, it goes into their budget category.
Right. So we won't be paying half of it. We'll just pay our 2 checks, and that's it on that fire agreement. I guess, I don't know, are you guys okay with moving that out of office supplies since it was a,
It's still in the budget, so within the budget change, it's just moving it from line items so there's no negative line items. I'm fine with that.
It didn't put us above the budget that you guys agreed upon.
no, but it wasn't really a legitimate expense
No,
either.
according to the last fire agreement, you're correct.
I had some more questions I think wrote down. That, if you do this moving around, you're left with $1,642 in the general.
Right.
So is that enough to pay the payroll the rest of the year?
The payroll is, the payroll has been,
Well, you'd have
I'm the
your,
only payroll that, well, I shouldn't say that. Well, no, see, that's, the payroll has its own budget. And so, yes, there is plenty of money in there.
well, the payroll has its own budget, but if you go back and look at these, you run all that through the general. You run your taxes through the general, and you're running your wages through the general, so you have to have enough in the general to pay all that.
There is, right now, there's $8,075 in the general pay payroll. If you go to page 2, on the even printed before line items were changed, I didn't change anything in payroll. If you go to page 2, under general fund, under residual amount, it shows there's $8,075 left,
Okay.
and that's enough to make payroll. We budgeted $19,400 to begin with, and $8,000 is what's left. So there was enough budgeted, and it'll come right out to the penny of what was spent.
Well, but if you go back here to page 5 of 7, it has listed these expenses you had through the year. And then the totals is over here on page 5, and it shows you only have a residual amount of $1,642 there.
That 1642 is the residual, well, actually, that's the total. That's actually, if you take everything in the general fund, other than payroll, that's what's left over right now at this time. If I encumber the $10,920.
That isn't even in the general though. The general's
Okay,
the
you're right.
general.
You're right. There's $1,642 left right now in the general fund. And
That's what I'm saying.
payroll's not part of that though. Payroll has its own area.
It's unpaid.
Yeah, but if you look at the payroll, there's no checks tied to it. All the checks come through the general. The checks come through the general, the payroll
He's
taxes.
got payroll, yeah, I saw that. What you're talking about.
Yeah, but see, there's no check numbers. That's more or less for him to keep track of it for the accountant. The money actually comes out of the general. There's no checks tied to that payroll. If you look in the left, there's no check numbers.
Well, this sheet doesn't show check numbers.
No, but this does, and that shows me that that's all coming out of the general. That's what I say. You've got $1,642 to make this stuff work the rest of the year.
Well, if you look at, there's smaller line item accounts. Those go back, you look at your other sheet, it'll line up with your other sheet you're talking about. So there's no checks attached to the sheet he gave us.
If you look at page 2 under general fund, that shows you the total budgeted for payroll. Payroll is separate from everything else.
But it shows the payroll, but you don't write any checks out of that payroll account. All the checks for them salaries are written out of the general. Go back and look at this
It's
stuff.
showing that here, Tim. It's showing that, just for example, my clerk's salary was $5,000, and so far we've spent $3,124 for her. So we've got a balance of $1,875 to pay for her. And you guys' salary right there, the $2,400, we paid you $1,200 so far. Plus you've got a check, you guys have got a check for $1,200. And so if you total all them up, it's gonna, this 19,400 under the residual amount, once I pay all the salaries, that residual amount will be zero. Because that's where all the salary money is coming from. The 1642 is left above and beyond payroll and the encumbered funds. Well, the encumbered funds have nothing to do with this, but the payroll will be, right now I've got 41% of the payroll in the residual amount. And like I say, by the end of the year, that'll be zero.
See here? Right here. See, this is the general. This is the general. It's all got checks wrote to it.
True.
This is a payroll. Right here. There's no checks.
Well, the checks have all been paid, Tim. We've paid this year-to-date expenses. Those have all been paid. There are check numbers somewhere. We've got them. Maybe we don't have them here, but we've got them. Wait just a second. Well, right here's the check numbers. Here, for example, Susan Hart.
Yeah,
This is
that's
her
in
check
the
number.
general.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying. You gotta have enough money in that general
I
to
do.
pay it.
There's 1,642 that will be left after all payroll at this date. After all the payroll cashes, the checks have been cashed, there will still be $8,000 left in payroll.
Payroll's not a funded account.
This is the way the bookkeeping is set up, Tim. I can't explain it other than I know these are good figures here.
Okay. The only thing is, I think you're gonna get to the end of the year and not have enough money to pay the payroll.
Well, let's wait, let's wait, you can tell me about it then.
Do you want to be good with it then, or maybe not?
Yeah, I'm good with it. It's gonna be up to him to figure out how he's gonna pay it if the money ends up.
It'll come out in Washington. Somebody like to make a motion then to sign the resolution now?
I wanna see the resolution, does it?
I'll make a motion, we approve the, budgetary movements of the categories to balance them out for the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm good with it. You okay with it, Dave?
Somebody second that?
What was your motion, AJ?
I make a motion, we, adopt this resolution to balance out the budget, so we have all line items.
Resolution 12/11/24. Yeah, he's gotta balance it out. It's just,
It's something every government organization has to do.
You second it?
I'll second it.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Tim signing, yeah. All right. We already discussed the 2025 meeting dates, right? And the 1782 notice, right?
Pardon?
We've already discussed the next meeting dates and the 1782 notice, right?
The paperwork that you guys had the last meeting in December is December 4th. And
But we changed it that night.
But I had it straightened out already, but copies you guys must have been an earlier version.
Which is fine,
Pardon?
all we did was change the last date, so you
Yeah,
took that and
um,
moved it over.
I just want you guys to have have you got the only change is that back, that bottom one. You've got it, AJ? Okay.
We already discussed it.
Yeah, we don't need to make nothing. There was just Tim
1782.
brought up that the last date was December 4th, and he said that Larry, that may not give you enough time. Well, I had already changed it to December 11th. So, yeah, we don't need to vote on it or not.
No, yeah, we're good. I'm talking about the 1782 notice. You got that?
Okay, I've
next.
got
What-
that, yeah.
You got, what's
I
the,
just, I wanted to explain to you a little bit about the 782 notice. Have you guys all got that?
I've got it.
You got it, AJ? But wait a minute, you know, we turn the budget in. And then George from the GLGF, he reviews it. And he makes sure, he's only concerned about the total budget and the line items, the fund totals, I should say. He doesn't care about line items. And then he takes it, if he agrees upon it, then he's got a cohort that he turns it over to, they review it. Once they review it, then it gets sent down to the state, to the DLGF. And then they review it. And if everything is okay and they agree with our numbers, then they send me back a 1782 form, which I've already reviewed it, and it balances, it's the same totals as that Form 4 that you guys had signed. And so I've got 10 days that I have to sign it and tell them I agree with the Form 4 numbers. And I turned that in. So the 1782 budget is the final thing that the DLGF is saying, okay, guys, you're good, everything balances out. So I've got that 1782 approved notice, and no changes can be made on it. It's what's in the computer.
Once that 10 days is up, there's no changes.
Correct.
Well, I've signed
And
it. I signed it. It's up to me. It don't go to the board to be signed.
Well, no, Larry, the board can.
the board can change it.
The board can say, hey, there's something discrepancy in
Yeah,
it, if they want to before the 13th.
If there's a discrepancy between
Right.
Form 4 and what they, and 1782, and there was no discrepancy.
So it's in the state's hands. If those two could have said something in, and
Well,
if
it
they
didn't-
didn't agree with it,
Right,
then that's
right.
different.
Yeah, they signed the Form 4, which had the very same balances on it for each fund, and the total was the same as Form 4, which is what you guys signed. So when I got 1782, I reviewed it, and the numbers were all identical. And George said, Larry, all you have to do is make sure the numbers are, all the funds are the same, and the total budget's the same, and then you sign it and turn it in, and I did that.
So what's the discussion on the 1782?
Nothing, there was no discussion, I just was trying to explain how the whole process works.
I understand how the
Okay.
process works. That's the last on the agenda, but I got an email from Tony Crowell that said you wanted him to explain the fire agreement to us. And so at the bottom of this email says, if you have any specific questions regarding the agreement and how the law applies to the agreement, you can call my assistant Amy and schedule a phone call or a face-to-face meeting, which I thought, I didn't know there was any problem. I'll go in and see Tony and see what the problem is. So I went in and I said, well, Tony, what's the problem? What does Larry think we don't understand about the fire agreement?
There's no disagreement on my part with the fire agreement. There was a little confusion on my part about the dates of the signatures. October 22nd, you guys signed the fire agreement. And October 28th, you signed the budget.
No.
And October 29th, the town signed the fire agreement.
Yeah. So the town signed after that budget meeting.
Correct.
That's right. And that's why,
I'm not disputing that.
and that's why I wanted to put them other lines in and told you how you could do it. You could roll that stuff all into one, make them two payments. But you turned in the lines you wanted instead of what we signed.
I turned in what matches the town's budget. Your budget does not match the town's budget.
But see, the town, we didn't have an agreement then. That's why I had that budget paper the way it was. And Dave and I both initialed that this is what we want turned in, but then you turned in what you wanted to turn in.
I could not turn in.
You could turn in it. You could turn it in. Tony, did Tony talk to you?
We had a good conversation.
Okay, you could turn it in because you're only going to make two payments. That paper you turned in wasn't going to be any more use than what mine was since they signed it. You would have had to roll everything together and pay the one payment. And if you would have turned in what we approved, you could have done the same thing on ours.
Right.
But it would have been set up okay to do that, to do what we would have needed to do if they wouldn't have signed it. You did what you wanted, and Tony was supposed to talk to you and straighten this out. And we're still here that you couldn't use ours and you turn yours in. And it makes no sense.
Let me explain. I talked to the DLGF, and the DLGF says they want the fund totals and they want the balance.
What DGL? Who'd you talk to the DGL? Hold on, who'd you talk to? Tell us who you talked to.
George Hilton.
Okay, and George Hilton told you what?
George Hilton told me that all the DLGF looks at is each fund's total and the total budget. Make sure that they are in line and they work out. He said, Larry, we don't even look at the line items. The line items are only there for your local use so that you can break down and put as many as you can put one line item in, or you can put 1,000 line items. It don't make any difference. It's just whatever works out better for you.
So you could have turned in ours, but you refused to,
I didn't
correct?
turn yours in.
Now, wait a minute, you
yours
just said
does not-
George told you it didn't matter on the line item, so you could have turned what me and Tim said in, correct?
I could have turned it in.
But you refused, correct?
But your line items
Okay.
do not.
That's all I wanted. I wanted to get it noted that you refused to turn
Your
in
line
ours.
items do not line up with the town of Austin.
What did George tell you? What did you say George told you? It didn't matter, correct?
Right, definitely.
Okay,
Line items.
so you could have turned in me and Tim's, but you refused to.
I
That's
turned in
correct.
the numbers that match the town clerk's line item.
He's gonna do what he wants to
I
do.
know. He's on there stating that George told him he could.
That is a
We
board
could do
decision. It tells you that right then in that email, 2 emails from George
We got it in
several
minutes,
times. And you keep saying you couldn't do it.
Tim, you answer this question.
We got it in the minutes.
On
That's
the
all.
budget that I turned in, they had
Make sure you get that
$40,000
in
you needed there for salaries. You had $5,000 on your budget. How is that gonna work?
It doesn't matter.
Here's how it's gonna work, Larry, because you're only gonna make 2 payments. You're gonna take all that stuff and roll it into one line, and it's gonna be paid out as a contract, 2 payments.
Correct.
And that's the same thing you could have done with ours.
I could have.
It's on the minutes. He
was going to.
It's on the minutes. He didn't listen to it. It's in the minutes. Anything else you got on?
Well, I've got a couple things that aren't on there, but it's because it just happened. I want you guys to know, we got our settlement sheet here. And I want to explain to you that the State Board of Accounts took out $6,887 for our audit.
Yeah.
And they take the money right off the top. The highlighted there is what that audit is. And if you look clear over on the right corner, it's actually a negative figure going into the general fund because the audit cost more money than we were receiving. Nothing wrong with that. We still got plenty of money in the general fund.
That's just for basically budget, 2024 year budget a year, correct?
Correct. But what I entered into our book system was clear over in the bottom, the bottom right-hand corner. We get a check for $79,766.72. That's already been deposited in our checking at F&M Bank. That line there will balance out then with what the bank says. And then I have made notes on all my paperwork that shows how much the audit cost.
The biggest thing is we only got funded from basically from taxes, what, $10,000 for 2024, wasn't it? It was a low amount
Which particular fund you talking about?
for general fund. Like what was raised in taxes.
General fund, yeah, we were only going to get $4,213 anyway.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. General fund wasn't gonna get that much
General fund
money.
went way down.
Correct.
That's what the DLGF.
Because we had so much in the coffers already. That's why we didn't get.
No, the reason they done that is there's so much lit money and they gotta run it through the general and they're figuring on that lit money to come in to add with the 4,000.
Even then, it's still, we weren't gonna get the 100 and whatever, I can't can't remember how much we budgeted for the year. We weren't gonna get that full budget amount because we had so much left over.
It has to do with that lit money. They don't set you up to borrow from your year before. You have to borrow from that year before at times to appropriate things, but when they set a tax rate, they're not figuring on you using that money from the year before. It has to do with the lit.
Okay, there's one other thing I'd like to talk about, encumbered funds. Since this is a continuance meeting, I have found some information out since we had our last meeting I'd like to share with you. I called the State Board of Accounts. Once you guys wouldn't approve encumbering $10,920 to the fire department from this year's $79,000 budget to next year. And I talked to the representative down there, and he said, Larry, there's nowhere on here under the encumbered appropriations that the board has to approve it. It's up to the trustee to make that decision. And on the very last thing I've got highlighted, he suggests that the trustee make a listing of these encumbered items and make it part of the township board. So at this time, I would like to ask the secretary to show that the trustee wants to encumber $10,920.38 from this year's budget to next year's when the fire turnout gear comes in.
I don't think we have to encumber that. I'm not going to do it. It's really not honoring our fire contract the way it's drawn up for 2025.
2025, Tim, has absolutely nothing to do with 2024 money.
When you're writing the check in 2025, it does.
Now, when I go into my book wish program this year, I will appropriate $10,920.38, and at the end of the year, next year, this money will come out of 2024 money. That check may be written then, but it's going to come out of 2024 money.
I'm not going to do that.
There's nothing, Tim. I don't need your signature on anything.
I'm gonna
Just
say that
notifying AJ that I want this done. AJ, will you put that in the minutes for me?
It's part of the minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to say that I don't feel it's necessary for the to do this because it goes against what the 2025
No, it doesn't, Tim.
fire budget says.
It does not.
Yes, it does.
2024 money.
Yes, it does. So I want that in the minutes that I'm stating that it goes against the fire agreement. We don't need to do that to have fire protection in 2025. We have an agreement where we're going to pay them 2 payments, and that's going to be what they get.
Okay, I've got one other thing I'd like to, go ahead.
In the 2024 budget, you agreed to pay $79,000. So if you don't pay the $10,000, that means you're only going to pay us $69,000 for 2024.
We're going to pay whatever bills are due in 2024. We're going to, if you got more bills in 20,
Last year.
we did, but we had an agreement that went with last year, and we had been
You
doing,
have an agreement in 2024 that you need to honor.
but then we changed that agreement.
Starting
Because-
January 1st. of
Yeah,
2025.
so
So you're not going to
them-
honor your agreement for 2024.
the turnout gear is gonna be used in 2025, and it says we're gonna pay you 2 payments in 2025.
But the same thing happens every year. What was the late year, it was the same money. You had to encumber it in 2023, and now you need to encumber it.
And we never got the stuff till the next year, and we're not moving ahead to the next year because we have a new agreement, and it says we're gonna pay 2 payments in 2025 and for the 2025 fire protection.
Right. But this is for the 2024 fire.
Did you not agree to that amount of money? That 79?
We agreed to spend that in 2024.
Okay. So ethically and morally, you told us that you would pay us this set amount of money.
No,
Whether that
we
money-
weren't paying you. We were paying for things that was bought for the fire
Correct.
department.
And because Ben is responsible with your money and pushes it to drop off, so it's cheaper to buy, and it passes the calendar date, you're not gonna honor your word.
We did honor
You
our
did
word.
not.
We supplied you with $79,000. It's just you never. It's 79, wasn't it, Dave?
No, but you only.
But you're only, right now, we're at 69,000.
That's right. And they needed to spend it by the end of the year
Which he's
Then
doing.
why did you pay it last year?
because it was a different deal. You wanted to change the agreement. We changed it to where
So
2
what-
payments
so
are paid.
what-
Take the 10, then you're cheating.
So wouldn't these gear technically still be 100% owned by Jefferson Township, not by partially owned like the new agreement goes? So Ben's gonna get this gear, it's not gonna be split 50-50 like it is in the future. It's gonna be those 2 turnout gear is gonna be 100% owned by Jefferson Township. It's not
But
split
they-
50-50.
It's for fire protection in 2025, and they wanted 2 payments for the fire protection in 2025.
Is there any way to look up your data?
You got some pieces of equipment in, and we could turn a bill in for that, but that would be unethical. So, I mean, we got hats and gloves, but that's not. But yes, we could do that by year's end.
It may come in this year. He told me he thought it might be in.
If it comes in, pay for it then. But if it doesn't come in before the first of the year, we have the agreement for 2025.
Doesn't come in
So
this year.
so you're not
I
on
will
the
be paying
agreement for
that.
2024.
The 2024 agreement ends in December 31st, 2024.
That's enough. That's enough. I've got one other sort of an end of year thing I'd like to say. The fire department had asked me to encumber $10,920.38 from the $79,000 2024 budget that was board approved and pay for 2 sets of turnout gear. He actually wanted 3 sets, but I told him, I said, Tim, you don't have, Ben, you don't have enough money to buy 3 sets of turnout gear. You can only afford 2 to stay under your $79,000 budget. So he did it. He went and got me the quote for the $10,920. That won't be delivered until 2025. Possibly it could be delivered this year. But I want to encumber it just in case it doesn't come in. Okay, this is a practice that is approved by the State Board of Accounts and has been done in other years, including last year, when we encumbered $8,801.60 from the 2023 budget and paid for it this year, 2024. You denied the volunteer fire department's request at our last meeting. When I asked you to encumber this, at that time, I thought you had to sign, but I found out you didn't, but you turned them down. Now, I checked with the State Board of Accounts, and the representative directed me to Township Bulletin Volume 335, page 6, encumbered appropriation. It explains the way to handle encumbered funds, and the last sentence says, and I quote, "We suggest the trustee make a listing of these encumbered items and make it part of the Township Board minutes," which AJ has done. He said it has nothing about needing board approval. As you read that, you couldn't find anything in there about needing board approval. So, the fire fund board approved the budget to spend in 2025 when the township is invoiced for the turnout year. I find it absolutely deplorable, and I emphasize deplorable, that Tim and David would try and deny the volunteer fire department $10,920.38 of the $79,000 that they approved in the 2024 budget. I hope in 2025, you find a way around the hatred you have for me, Ben Festermaker, the town of Austin, and the volunteer fire department, and do the job you are elected to do, represent all of Jefferson Township. Thank you.
There's no hatred. There's no hatred. It's,
Have I noticed any hatred from the fire department? The town council, disagreements that when we try to reach the fire agreement, I just feel there's hatred here. Maybe I used the wrong word. Maybe it's a little too strong. That's personally the way I see it.
Are you insinuating that everything has been one-sided, though?
Oh, no, it's not been
Because there's
one-sided.
been hatred from all sides, and it seems very childish to sit here and say it's just the two of them.
The hatred I see coming from the other side
all year
came to
knows that
answer
that's
their
not true.
questions. That's all I've got. We can end the meeting if you like.
No, I still got something yet.
Go ahead.
Did you, on township assistance, did you have a guideline set in place for township assistance in 2024?
That wasn't, you guys never asked. me to put
Did
that
you
on.
have township assistance guidelines set in place for 2024?
You wouldn't sign it.
Did you have township assistance
No,
guidelines?
because
in
you
place?
would not sign
Okay,
it.
thank you.
I would have them in place if you would have signed it.
That's all I
Now,
needed
we
to
can
know.
discuss that next year.
That's all I needed to make sure was on. Anybody else in the public? Got anything else there?
At the last meeting, or the beginning of this meeting, the cemetery fund got postponed, waiting on some receipts. Did all that get cleared up? Because nothing has come out today about that.
I sent David David wanted all the receipts of what was spent in the cemetery fund. And we were over budget in the cemetery line item. But I was able to take money from other line items that we were in the black. And so right now, the cemetery fund is not in the red.
What is but you've got it broke up into two: care of cemetery. What's the care of cemetery?
Say that again.
You have it broke up into two different line items. Care of cemetery. What's the care? Some stuff's coming out of care of cemetery.
Care
Where?
of cemetery is mowing.
I asked you for that information. You never sent it to me. I emailed it to you, and you even responded today. Did you not about it? And I responded again.
I
and you never
responded
sent me,
back
so-
to you, but I left the office and did not get your email.
What's in the care of cemetery? Then?
Care of cemetery is the mowing, and the maintenance is repairing the stones.
So
Hubbard came in and repaired 50% of the stones this year.
So where's that money coming from for the care?
It came from the general fund budget. We had enough money left over in the general fund budget that we could spend a little bit more money on the cemetery, but it saved me $8,000 next year.
But you don't have none of you don't have none of the expenses for mowing and that on our.
It's included in the paperwork that I sent you, the one that says before I changed and the one after. Cemetery mowing is included in there.
Who did you pay it? Or you paid
I paid 3 different people to mow cemetery.
the one lump sum, or did you break it up?
Well, I broke it up. Each cemetery is their own.
No. Did you pay each guy one lump sum, or did you pay?
No, each cemetery is separate.
I understand that, but what you paid, for instance, Gary White, you paid him one lump sum or 2 lump sums, correct? Who mowed the other 2 cemeteries?
Dave Dickus mowed Albright, or excuse me,
Okay,
Archibald,
that's who did it.
and Tom Beckler mowed process.
So why'd you pay Tom Heckler every month?
That's the way he wanted it set. I didn't pay him every month, I paid him, he wanted to be paid 8 months out of the year. And that's the way the contract is set up with him. The other two gentlemen wanted to be paid twice a year.
Did we approve the contract for that?
I approved that contract.
I don't
I thought
think
we had it at the beginning of the year where we went through those.
we did, but he remember he made the race, but we never
I take
had
I
him say,
take
so
care
never
of
knew he was
the
paying.
contracts for the mowers. I line
So
up,
how much did you pay Tom then for the whole year?
it's lump, I have to let you know what it is, it's lumped in with the other, contract. But he was paid the very same amount that Gary White was paid to mow El Hannon. And Dave Deckers was paid less money because, his cemetery is 3/4 of an acre, where the other two cemeteries are about an acre and a quarter.
The mowing bill though, we had 8,000 budgeted and I think he spent 12. Did they ask for more money or how?
No. The contract that they signed at the beginning of the year was the same contract we used throughout the year.
Well, I remember specifically, at least once you paid Gary White like $1,200. So where'd the rest of the?
Well, I think Dave Dickus's, his contract was $1,200, and the other two were in the $2,000 range. It's all based on the size of the cemetery and the number of tombstones.
So does that come up to $12,000?
Well, I don't know how.
I can-
We had 8,000 budget and you end up spending 12. That's why I wondered if the contracts were higher or you put extra stuff in there.
Well, there was Dave Dickus, there was some tree limbs that he had to clean up. I paid him, I think, an extra $125 to do that. And there was a bunch of low spots in there that we hauled dirt in, and he reseeded that. And we had to buy grass seed and his labor to do that. So he paid probably about $200 more than the signed contract that he had to mow. I always, if they have to do other jobs like
Yeah, I
cut
was,
trees or something,
yeah, I was just curious.
Did he buy a couple plots?
yeah, he bought two $800.
Okay, that's why I see there were I see a debit for 1,600, so he bought plots, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what that was for.
Yeah, that's
I
that
seen that
1,600
too.
what he bought there, so
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out who the.
Yeah,
If you sell plots at the cemetery yet, what fund does that go into?
Cemeteries.
general,
General.
because the cemeteries are maintained out of the general.
There's a line item in there for cemetery expense for care of cemetery and maintenance of cemetery. The care of cemetery is mowing, and the maintenance is if repairing these tombstones that were repaired. But it is all, it's a line item in the general fund.
He run over on that mowing 12,000
Do they have their
or
own
4,000.
mowers, or do you have to furnish mowers?
They have their own mowers.
Yeah, he's getting it done cheap enough. I'm not saying, I was just curious why we had 8,000 for mowing and he spent 12 for mowing. That's the only thing.
General question for my position.
Yeah.
I got some pictures.
All right, that answers that. I think that answers
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
and one more side note question. I remember in July, I think, there was talk of a survey on Jefferson Township Facebook page. Did we ever get any results to that? Did you ever?
I have
To the cemetery?
No,
No.
there's something else I had out there,
Oh, okay.
and I haven't compiled
Fire
notes.
related.
Right. Had not compiled any of that data yet, so. But no, there's nothing on that yet.
Do we know
What was
roughly?
that about, AG? I guess I'm not.
It just kind of asking general questions about how if people understood what's going on, and
How long does the survey go on for then? How long does it go on for?
it's still out there. I haven't closed it out. That's why I said the data's still out there.
That's all I got.
Well, I'm sorry you feel like it's animosity towards you guys. I mean, we're here to conduct township business. And if we feel like this is what the township needs, that's what we vote on.
Okay, you voted to pay $79,000 for the budget, and now you're trying to get out of paying them
No.
$1,920.
Yeah, we
I think that is entirely
we
wrong.
we voted to pay
The
that.
fire department.
We voted to pay that in 2024, and they changed the contract for 2025, and it says we make 2 payments, we have fire protection. And so we're just sticking to that contract. If we would have went on, kept that contract going, we would have, I can't answer for them two guys. We would.
I would suggest you try to DLG out.
This is why we have two, this is why we have two payments.
You have to submit us with the receipt, correct? In the past contract, we had to have the receipt to pay. Is that correct? Okay. Yes, that's the way we've always done it. Is that not correct?
Right.
The next year's contract has changed. He still has till the end of the year to spend his, whatever he's got left.
If you encumber it, it can be spent.
No, wait a minute. He's got till the end of the year. Does he not have till the end of the year to spend the rest of his money? Are we denying him spending his money for the rest of the year?
You are denying him to spend it if it don't come in until next year. That's what you're denying.
It doesn't matter. We
It-
can
it doesn't.
and we're gonna get the money. Exactly right. Exactly
So
right.
we'll have a receipt on that fire equipment.
When it comes in and they receive it, says it's in good order, then sends me the invoice, says, Larry, I've received this, it's in good order, pay it. And that's what I will do whenever it comes in next year. The only reason it comes in so late in the year is Ben has to wait until the end of the year to see if he's gonna have enough money. Like I said, he requested 3 sets of turnout gear, and I said, Ben, I crunched the numbers, and I said, Ben, you
Now,
don't
wait a
have
minute.
enough.
You just
Please let
said,
me finish. Ben, you've only got enough to buy 2 sets. And so that's why he ordered 2 sets. But he said, Larry, I ordered so late in the year that sometimes it takes 3 months to get these in. So he probably won't receive them until next year.
you're saying that he kept it to make sure he had enough money. They're saying he did it to get a good deal on it, which is,
He probably did both. He probably wanted to get the best deal he
And
could
you need
get.
to know how many he needs, you don't know what.
They're $5,000 a piece, David.
You don't know which ones are gonna wear out, and you don't know how many you're gonna need.
I believe the town bought 3 sets this year, didn't it?
I don't know.
He wanted, like I said, I think he wanted the town to buy 3 and me 3, but with his
If you
budget,
encumber-
we could only afford 2 of them.
If you encumber, then it really doesn't matter.
No.
Huh?
that's the town didn't cover them.
You go ahead. So did you guys get your turnout gear then?
I don't know.
So if you didn't encumber money, you're gonna pay for it out of next year's budget?
We just
We have to
encumber money
encumber
for
it every year.
Department, just this last meeting.
Yeah, but did you encumber any for the fire department?
We do when we need to.
Well, but you're out of meetings this year, so you're not gonna encumber any.
So I don't know the last meeting, I'd have to go back and look, but if there is anything that bled over, we would encumber it, because that's how you do it. But to keep his
But
books
we don't have
straight,
to vote on it. The clerk treasurer would encumber it, we don't vote on it.
It's just so, it's for their knowledge that it's been encumbered.
I can ask if you want to know.
It don't matter.
It don't matter.
I hope next year that we've worked through we've done a lot of good things this year. We've got 2.5 cemeteries repaired. We've got a fire agreement that's fair between Jefferson Township and the town of Boston. We've done a lot of good things. They've been big changes this year, but I'm still proud of you guys as a board because you are very knowledgeable. You're probably one of the most knowledgeable boards because you review this stuff. And I do appreciate that because when you review it, then you make me review it and I can find out what's right. So I do appreciate you. I thank you for the job that you've done this year.
If there's nothing else, I make the motion we end this meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll see you on January 7th. You'll be in Florida, right?
Probably. So where's that gonna be at?
We're gonna hold all our meetings here. I've got